So welcome back after a very, very rough night. Last night between 7 and 10 o'clock, 7 and a half, 9 was really, really bad here.
Hope everyone's okay up there. Jesus, the rain.
It's the roughest I've seen here in a long, long time. Wind is something that I absolutely hate. You're always dreading the damage that it can cause. The power did go off last night at 8 o'clock and the power has not come back on yet. It's 11 o'clock on the day now. No cows have been milked as of yet. No calves have been fed. We haven't really been able to do anything yet. You can see here I have a ratchet strap going to there. Reason for that is we have a steel girder there, runs right to the ground, and a steel girder there that runs right to the ground. This one, which takes a lot of pressure from the wind hitting it from behind, is bolted to the top of the wall, and you can see the way it has broke the top of the wall. That there is completely separated and does go in and out with the wind. So hence the reason I've ratchet strapped it across here last night before the wind came, just to stop that bouncing back and forth, because that bouncing was actually damaging this wall. And this wall almost came in last year. It did start to move slightly, and it's something I should have fixed, but I didn't. And what I done was, yesterday evening, I put the shear grab up against the wall. I thought it would have been fine, but it wasn't. And this wall has come in. You can see the distance here, and you can see the way the wall is sloping across here. So the whole wall, you can see even here in the meter box here, the wall has moved in on the top. So what the shear grab was safe. It broke where it wasn't supported. When we come outside here, you get a better look. You can see here now the way the wall is cracked the whole way across here and up here, all opened up, and here and there. So the whole wall has cracked basically from there upwards. This beam here that sits on top of the wall should have went right to the ground, and the ground should be taking the pressure, not the wall. That's where the problem is. So what I'm going to do now to fix this for now, because we've cows calving one after the other, not the right time for tearing down a wall in the calving pen, because I need my calving pen. We're going to brace it that it'll stay standing until we get our calving over us. We'll tear that wall down, we rebuild it, but we will address this issue by bolting another steel frame to that some way or other, getting it right down to the ground, and that will secure that this won't be all one long wall. And then I'm going to weld brackets here that's going to come right over here and going to keep this wall held for now. I'm going to give it a wee bit more support. We might actually even put an attic up here. It's a big wasted space, and if we had just beams resting on top of that wall the whole way around and something here just to hold it, we could have a lovely attic space up there which would hold a hell of a lot of stuff. So we might look at doing that too. I'm having a good laugh here at Sophia's expense, because I keep telling her, turn on that light there, Sophia, turn off the dishwasher, and she keeps falling for it every time. But anyway, our house is filled up with calves here. These are our twins, they're born, and these are 4 heifers here so far. So what we want to do is to get this house here ready and to put cows into. Broken. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4. These are the 4 oldest ones. We want to move them up, and they've jackets on anyway, so they'll be nice and warm. Oh. No. Go on. Right, so they're just checking out their new surroundings. That is the 4 oldest ones. There's the one that was calved, the very first calf, grown an awful lot probably since you've seen it last. I've had to just adjust out the jackets. That's one thing you kind of also have to keep an eye on when you're putting jackets on calves young. They'll grow a hell of a lot in the first 2 weeks, so make sure you adjust them because they get tight very quickly, and this is the second time I've adjusted them. What I need to do now is I need to stick a feeder up here for them. They've got plenty of fresh water, I just have to clean it out because it's gone a bit stale, laying over the summertime. And then get some crunch in for them, bit of straw, and Bob's your uncle. Alright, so we lay in the base of them. Don't have to be cleaned out spotless. And then we give them a rough clean out like that. And then normally I put lime on the bottom of them. That one there I bedded, but I put a bit of lime on the bottom of that as well. I ran out of lime, so we'll have to go and get a couple of bags this evening, but this is okay for now. And just as quick as we empty it, we have to bring another one up. So right, so that guy there was born at 1 o'clock or 1 AM last night. An absolute monster. I don't know if the camera picks him up, but he's a brute, so he is. A big bull calf. But that's him in, he's fed and all. What I'll be doing now off camera is I have to clean out the rest of these pens here just to take out the roughness of the front of them, rebed all those. But before I do that, we had the first of our heifers in the calving pen, and I'm going to have to give her a hand because I have to watch that door doesn't slam by, because if that door slams behind me, I get locked in here and you won't get out of here if that door closes. And it happened before. I'm just getting this pair of gloves here and I've just run back into the dairy here to pick up my ropes. She's been in the same position now for the past 30 minutes and she hasn't made any progress whatsoever. Just going to give her a wee hand, have a wee look. A little bit more cautious of heifers. She's not a nervous heifer in any way, but I would like to see her move on a little bit more than she is, especially with the calf water bag busted. What can happen is the calf can drown if you leave it too long. And looking at the feet, I'm hoping I can see 2 feet for starters. It's approaching now very easy. She's going to get up anyway. But I see 1 leg and I don't see a 2nd leg. It might be hopefully just inside. So I'm going to set you up here. I'm going to put her in the calving gate. I'm going to have a wee inspection here and have a look to see if everything's okay. It's a big foot too. And she's definitely under pressure. Girl, good girl, good girl, good girl, good girl. Good girl, good girl, good girl. Okay. I'm going to prop yous over here. Not in any panic. So sit you there and hopefully you can see what I'm at. It's as close as I can get you. And stick on a pair of gloves here. So the thing with heifers is everybody's different. Everybody does the thing their own way, and stay doing it the way you're doing it if it works for you. Well, when it comes to heifers, I tend to give them longer than I give a cow. Every time a heifer presses, she widens out here, and it just leaves the whole calving process much easier than jumping right in. This is the first cow or heifer or animal this year I have to help. We're going to have a wee look in here and see, first of all, find a 2nd foot, which the good news is there. It's turned back, so it's like this. So we're going to push that back as far as I can. Just wait till she puts the pressure off me. Then the pressure goes back, put it up, flicked it, and there it comes. Nose is right there beside me as well. Everything looks good. You can place your bets now, whether it's going to be a heifer or a bull. This will be a Friesian. We started using Friesians on our heifers last year. We used to use all Aberdeen Angus just to ease the calving. So I'm not really adding any pressure yet. I'm just keeping the legs straight. I can already feel there. She's tight enough. So I'm going to go now and grab the jack. Just leaving a bit of pressure on her. Not much. Now, another thing I want to do is that heifer's going to lay down. So I just released her head, kept the gate across, because if she does go to lay down, which she probably will, I don't want her head getting caught in that. She's going to go down now. There she is. And out pops the head. And when the head goes out, just go a wee bit faster. And there we have it, a white calf. Right. Calf's all right. Usually marked. I'll have to look at the straw. Sometimes there'll be a wee mix up on our straws. That's a bull calf, unfortunately. I would have liked a heifer. But anyway, the calf's okay. You seen earlier on the way I opened the head gate. So when the cow or heifer will go down like that, because there's a large chance they will always do that, you probably could release it anyway, but now that it's released, she's not actually stuck there. My old way of doing it, where I had the gate across here, I always thought it much better. But I'm going to leave her alone. I'll give her a lukewarm bucket of water, which I do with all my animals after the calf. Just give her time, and she'll jump up herself. The last thing you want to do is try to force her up, because that's when they can do the harm. And just like that, she's gonna get up herself. She's pulled her head back there now, and up she gets. I have to watch her for a bit, because when that calf goes to get up, she could get very rough. I've seen it happen before. I wish you could just maul the calf into the corner, so just have to keep an eye on her. But I'll give her a bucket of water anyway. At least she got up. That's the main thing. She's up and out and moving. I just want to say, the roaring that the cow does, just like she's roaring there now. And the same when she's calving. A heifer will be far more vocal than a cow will be. It's her first time. She doesn't understand what's going on. I remember a couple of years ago, we had a cow, had Belgian blue twins, and she roared quite a bit as well. And 99% of the comments was good, but there was a few people who knew it'd sneak in and say, oh, that cow roaring in pain, that's a hard thing to do to a cow or a heifer, whatever it is. Well, my wife had twins, and she also shouted in English at me, so I can understand the bit of labour pain that an animal would have. It's perfectly natural. All I do is keep the ropes tight, and she does the pressing herself, and every time she presses out a little bit, I tighten the rope a little bit more, just to keep the calf out of that level, if you get me. Any animal will roar when they're giving birth, and it's not something I'm ever going to hide on my channel. It's a job that I'm doing a long time now, and all other farmers will fully understand it, but if you're not from the farming background, you think that the animal's in pain. Yes, she is. It's labour. Nothing added to it by us. All right, so the panic is all over. It's a few days since we had our power cut. I want to kind of explain what happened. I didn't film it because it was a stressful time. I just did not want to see a camera at that time. But to make it really short and sweet and simple, our power went off on a Sunday evening at 8 o'clock. We had our cows milked, and thank for that evening already. We thought our power would come back on before morning, because that's what usually happens when our power goes off here. It never goes off for more than 5 or 6 hours, and that only happens on a rare occasion. But this time was different. We were getting notifications. 3 p.m. it'd be on, 6 p.m. it'd be on, but when 6 p.m. came, we got the next update, which was 8 o'clock that night. The night after, no cows had been milked. We were just giving water to the calves and hoping that it would come back on. The unfortunate thing was, when 8 o'clock came, we got a message on our phone saying that it wasn't going to be back on until 6:30 the following evening. And that's when kind of panic stations kicked in. And I just said to myself, if I had known that, I would have been out all day and would have sorted something. I would have got a mobile unit to milk, or a generator of some sort. Partly my fault for not being organised properly. Take blame for that 100%. I started ringing around a few people that I knew who worked in hire companies and places, and nobody had a generator, not one big enough at least, to run the milking machine. We found out we were going to need around 30 kVA of power to run the cooler and the machine. We wouldn't run them simultaneously anyway. We just wanted to get the machine running, and thankfully this machine doesn't have much electronics in it, apart from the pulsation, which runs on 12 volt. Everything else is manual, so it's just a matter of really getting the machine to work. A mate of mine, Jerry, who owned the actual Ford 4000 that I fixed up the wiring on, he came up. He just knew I would be having problems, so he came up, see could he help in any way, and he had a little generator. Unfortunately, it wasn't near big enough. We put in a couple of cows here that were calved and we started hand milking them. I started hand milking a few cows. I just wanted to get a couple of buckets of milk so I could start feeding the calves at least, until I thought of a solution to get around our problem. And I wasn't on my own, because there were local dairy farmers beside me messaging me as well who were having the same problem and doing something similar. So anyway, long story short, we got a number for a guy who does generators. My wife rang him, standing here beside me. She was standing right there, and she rang him while I was hand milking a cow here behind her. And she put the phone in my ear, and he said he had one. A diesel generator you can pull behind the Jeep. He was about an hour's drive away from us. So we needed to go and get the generator, which sounded simple, but wasn't that simple, because we had 2 cows inside the calf right at that time. And I mean right at that time. So my mate Jerry stayed on, and he says, look, jump in the Jeep with me and we'll just go and get it. So home here at about 11:15 that night, and went to start hooking it all up. The power came back on. I just looked at Jerry and he looked at me, and both of us just laughed. What else could you do? Only laugh. We got the cows in. It was such a relief. I put it up on Instagram. We were finished milking. All was done here at about 12:30. And my clock's above me. That's what I keep looking up at. But we got the whole thing done. Everything was sorted. We left back the generator. We paid for a day's use regardless. We were glad to get it. The other funny part as well is you'll see a little video, I don't know when I'll put it up, of a light sitting there running a wee suitcase generator, just so I could see what I was doing. But the pit itself here, the mats were like a water bed. There was about 2 inches of water in the pit. There's a sump there in our pit which pumps any of the dirty water away. The sump wasn't working, and sure, look, at a bit of seepage and stuff must have come in, filled up this. So when I was trying to walk on the mats all came apart, of course, because you were floating. At one stage, I just closed my eyes, took a deep breath and said, we'll get through this. Just stressful, but it's sorted. Now, I got a lot of messages on Instagram, people saying, have you no generator? In this part of the country, in County Calving where we live, the power rarely ever goes off. In my lifetime, 30 years, I never remember the power ever going off for more than 5 or 6 hours, and even that was very, very rare. So you'd always get the milking done. There was never a time where cows wouldn't be milked for more than a day. That just didn't happen. To justify a generator which would cost upwards of €5,000 for a new 30 kVA PTO generator, the diesel ones I'm sure are a lot more expensive, and the generator sitting not being used wouldn't be good for it either. Most people have that idea where I'm from in this area. Now if you're from Mayo, Galway, Donegal, up along that coast that gets battered by storms, then it would make more sense, yes, obviously, to have a generator. So now these storms are peeping their way in, I am starting to think differently. So I have made a change already. And my first change is our home. I had a suitcase generator, it's a Honda EU22i. I bought it last year, and the reason I bought it was I had another one I traded in and bought it so I could work on the cottage over on the other farm. The problem was it hadn't got a great deal of power. It wouldn't power a home. So I immediately took that suitcase generator, which only had a few hours use on it, and I traded it in. I didn't actually trade it in at all. I actually know a fella that's a hire centre. I priced a 8 kVA petrol electric start generator, and the deal we done was we done a straight swap. Mine was about 1200 new, his was just under 1100. Mine only a couple of hours use and it's still on a warranty, and that's what I have now. I'm getting a transfer switch put into my home, hoping to get one put into my parents' house as well, and we will be getting one fitted here as well. Get the whole thing kitted out first, that we can just plug a generator in, there's no messing with wires or any of that crack, and that's the first step. So then in the summertime, I'm going to start pricing up some PTO generators and find out what it is that can run what we need to run. It doesn't have to run everything at the one time. If it runs the lights, runs to make the machine, I'm happy enough. There are other farms just right beside me who didn't get any power back till Friday, so we're lucky. So this is our calving pen at the minute, and we have it propped here. You've seen that before in the last clip, but we also now have it propped this way as well, so we're holding the wall out. And we have the wall pushed back. And another thing I was fit to do here yesterday, welded this angle iron the whole way along this frame, and that's holding the wall the whole way from top to bottom there. That's a hell of an anchorage, believe it or not, for that wall. It's the way it should have been from day one. And this will hopefully get us by this springtime, get the calving out of the way, and then we will tear this wall down completely. It won't take long to do. We could toss that wall and rebuild it in 2-3 days. We'd have the whole thing done. So it's not going to be a big job to repair. It's just the fact that we didn't want to come down in the middle of cows calving. Sorry if I look a bit tired, I am, because our wee lassie wasn't well last night. Myself and Mum were up all night, and then at the cow calve at 3 a.m. as well. We have 2 cows in there ready to calve. We've actually 10 cows in there ready to calve in the next 6 days. Will be in for the end of January. 2 of which I'll hope, fingers crossed, will calve today, and they don't all pack on top of each other, because this can happen, and they can all calve in the one day. If they span themselves out nicely, yeah, well, that'll take a lot of pressure off me. But I'm going to start clearing out here, put in some silage, and we start the next job. All right, so it's about 6 days later, well, 5-6 days later, and we have another 11 cows calved since that. So the calves you're looking at here, 2 of which are the ones you seen us putting up earlier on. Well, earlier on, 5 days ago, you can see they've got quite a bit bigger. They grow very quick. This one here's about a week younger. The other 3, if I remember right, they're in this house with these ones that I put up. They're going down to the other house below. I put another 3 down along with them, so 6 down in the other house, and in here we're full up as well. You can hear them roaring here when I walk by them. So, but the job at the minute is I want to actually put in a tap here. Sticking our blue plugs in here. Right. Go in there. So that's that one tightened up. I did say back 2 weeks ago, I was looking forward to the sound of calves roaring. When you stand in the shed like this and hear them roaring for 20 minutes non-stop in your ear. Yeah. Alright. These 2 line up here. That's them. Good thing about heavy gauge pipe, it's fairly easy to join. So this pipe I use here, I must get more of it actually for the dairy, but it's good stuff. It doesn't, it's pliable, but it doesn't kink. So all I want here is to put something just a squirt on top of that there. So if I could hook it like that, yeah, I'm gonna cut it there and fit a hose to it. Right. So this is the hose I'm gonna put on, or the hose nozzle, or whatever you want to call it. It's just a cheap one. It's €10 for this one. But it's ideal for what I want because it has a wide spray, which that'll clean it much quicker rather than an old thing that just sprays out straight. So this will do my job lovely. It won't do my job lovely because it doesn't fit. Well, scrap that last idea I just showed you. Forget about it, I even showed you it. Because it didn't work out. That other pipe is just way too thick of itself and too awkward, and there was no way I was going to get one of these to go onto it. I could probably route it around enough, but it wasn't worth the hassle. And another thing, it wasn't very pliable. Whereas this is just a cheap bit of garden hose. Another thing I done was I put a washer behind that tap there, just to gap it out. Because that tap, of course, when I had it on, I only realised that, but that tap is designed to fit facing upwards, which would have looked a bit unusual. I got a washer, bored it out, and that is as solid as a rock now. So it shouldn't leak. I haven't turned it on yet, but now I just need to attach this some way or other up here. It may be a screw, but it'll certainly do. That'll fit in like that, never move. So we have the water back on and everything's hooked up and I don't see any leaks as of yet. So I will come back and I will clip that all down. Just 2 clips there to hold everything. It's not going to move and nothing's going to reach it. So our tap here now will turn on. We have pressure. So I can just hook this off, this is the idea. Is that thing leaking? It bloody well is leaking. Alright, take 2. Now we're not leaking. So my idea is to just give it a hose. There we go. You can change the settings on this other thing. There we go. That's what I want there. Hold it down really quick. Tip it up. And then when you're done with it, just hook it up like that, turn the tap off. That's the job done. Now the calves can't reach that pipe, but all I have to do if I want is just lap around that tap once, just in case anyone thinks the calves can reach that. But just a simple thing like that, believe it or not, saves you a lot of time. I'm going to leave it there for now. Thanks for watching. See you next one.